Metal doors slam shut behind her. 5 federal agents strip search the suspected terrorist they've just arrested at the Mexican border. Routine procedure. Standard protocol for someone caught with suspicious documents. But when they see the Navy SEAL Trident tattooed across her shoulder, everything stops. What happens next will change everything you thought you knew about who the real enemy is. It's 3:47 a.m. at the Federal Detention Center in El Paso, Texas, the kind of facility where suspected terrorists and border smugglers disappear into the system for days before anyone knows they're missing. Tonight, they've brought in someone who ICE agents believe is a high-value target in a human trafficking operation that's been moving classified information across the Mexican border for months. The woman they arrested calls herself Maria Santos. No identification, no passport, no documentation except suspicious papers written in multiple languages that suggest connections to foreign intelligence services. She was caught 3 miles inside American territory carrying encrypted communications that mentioned government facilities and military personnel. To Agent Richardson and his team, she's exactly what they've been hunting for. A foreign operative using the border crisis to infiltrate American intelligence networks. Someone who needs to be processed through enhanced interrogation protocols before she disappears into federal custody where lawyers can't reach her. What they don't know is that Maria Santos has been undercover for 8 months. What they don't know is that the suspicious documents are part of a deep cover operation targeting the same human trafficking network that ICE thinks she's working for. What they don't know is that they just arrested the person who's been feeding them intelligence about border security threats for the better part of a year. Strip search, full cavity search, then isolation until we can run her through facial recognition. Richardson orders his team. Standard protocol for suspected foreign operatives. The detention facility's processing room is designed for intimidation. Harsh fluorescent lighting, concrete walls, steel tables where personal belongings are cataloged before prisoners disappear into cells where no one can hear them scream. It's the kind of place where constitutional rights become suggestions and due process becomes whatever federal agents decide it should be. Lieutenant Commander Jessica Razor Martinez, United States Navy SEALs, has been in worse situations, but as she's forced to remove her civilian clothing in front of 5 federal agents who think she's a terrorist, she knows that her deep cover mission is about to be blown in the most dramatic way possible. For 8 months, she's been living as an undocumented immigrant in Mexico, infiltrating a human trafficking network that's been smuggling more than just desperate families across the border. Russian intelligence operatives, Chinese military personnel, North Korean cyber warfare specialists, all using the chaos of border crossings to embed themselves in American communities where they can gather intelligence and plan attacks. The mission required complete identity suppression, no contact with Navy command, no access to military resources, no backup if things went wrong, just 8 months of living as someone else, earning the trust of international criminals who would torture her to death if they discovered she was American military. Tonight was supposed to be the end of her operation, the final intelligence handoff that would give federal authorities everything they needed to roll up the entire network. Instead, she's been arrested by the same federal agents she's been providing intelligence to, because the communication protocols required for deep cover operations made her look exactly like the enemy she's been hunting. Richardson, "This is unnecessary," Jessica says quietly as his team prepares for the strip search. "I need to speak with your supervisor about operational security." Operational security? Richardson laughs like that's the funniest thing he's heard all week. "Lady, you were caught red-handed with encrypted communications and foreign documents. The only operation you're concerned about is whatever terrorist bullshit you and your handlers have been planning." But Jessica Martinez isn't Maria Santos, undocumented border crosser, and she isn't a foreign terrorist carrying suspicious documents. As her civilian clothing is removed, the fluorescent lights reveal something that makes Agent Richardson's blood run cold. A tattoo that covers most of her left shoulder and extends down her arm, not a gang symbol or religious marking, a United States Navy SEAL Trident, surrounded by operational details that only someone with classified clearance would recognize. Unit designations, mission dates, combat deployments that are still classified at levels Richardson has never seen. Jesus Christ, one of the agents whispers. "That's That's not possible. Jessica turns to face Richardson with the kind of quiet authority that comes from 8 years of leading the most dangerous military operations in American history. When she speaks, her voice carries the weight of someone who's killed more enemies of the United States than Richardson has ever met. Agent Richardson: my name is Lieutenant Commander Jessica Martinez, United States Navy SEALs. You just arrested a federal agent conducting a classified counterintelligence operation. I suggest you contact your supervisor immediately. The processing room goes dead silent. 5 federal agents staring at someone they thought was a terrorist, realizing they've just strip-searched a Navy SEAL who outranks most people in their chain of command. Richardson's hands are shaking as he reaches for his radio, because the tattoo Jessica is showing him contains operational details that prove she's not just claiming military service. She's displaying classified information that only active-duty SEAL personnel would have access to. This is Agent Richardson requesting immediate supervisor response to Processing Room 3. We have a situation that requires command-level clearance. While they wait for Richardson's supervisor, Jessica provides authentication codes that connect her directly to Naval Special Warfare Command, phone numbers that bypass standard military protocols and go straight to officers who coordinate deep cover operations involving American soil. Commander Martinez: authentication code Bravo 77 Delta Alpha, request immediate extraction and debrief regarding Operation Border Shield. The voice that answers Richardson's radio call changes everything about the situation unfolding in the Federal Detention Center. Admiral Patricia Stevens, Naval Special Warfare Command, who's been coordinating Jessica's deep cover mission for 8 months. Agent Richardson: you are ordered to cease all detention procedures immediately. Commander Martinez is conducting a classified operation under direct Navy authority. Any interference with her mission constitutes obstruction of federal intelligence operations. Richardson's face goes white as he realizes the magnitude of his mistake. The suspected terrorist he arrested is actually a Navy SEAL who's been providing his agency with intelligence about border security threats. The foreign documents he thought were evidence of espionage are actually classified reports about Russian operatives trying to infiltrate American defense installations. Admiral: we had no notification about any Navy operations in our sector. Agent Richardson: deep cover operations require communication blackouts that prevent exactly this kind of compromise. Commander Martinez has been operating under protocols that specifically prohibit contact with local federal agencies to maintain operational security. Jessica retrieves her scattered clothing while Admiral Stevens continues briefing Richardson about the intelligence operation he just compromised. 8 months of work identifying Russian sleeper agents, Chinese military operatives, North Korean cyber warfare specialists, all using human trafficking networks to embed themselves in American communities. The documents you confiscated contain intelligence about imminent attacks on American military installations. Commander Martinez was conducting the final phase of an operation that would have prevented those attacks. By arresting her, you may have compromised national security operations that extend far beyond Border Patrol. As Jessica gets dressed, she provides Richardson with intelligence that turns his understanding of border security completely upside down. The human trafficking network he's been investigating isn't just smuggling desperate families. It's a sophisticated intelligence operation run by hostile foreign governments who are using America's immigration crisis to infiltrate military personnel into the continental United States. Agent Richardson: the people you think are refugees include Russian Spetsnaz operators trained to sabotage American infrastructure, Chinese PLA intelligence officers gathering information about military bases in Texas and New Mexico, North Korean cyber warfare specialists planning attacks on electrical grids and communication networks. The encrypted communications Richardson confiscated contain details about planned attacks that would make the border crisis look insignificant compared to the national security threats that foreign governments are embedding in American communities. There are sleeper cells in El Paso, Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio, military-trained operatives who've been living as undocumented immigrants while gathering intelligence about American defense installations. Commander Martinez has spent 8 months identifying these operatives and gathering evidence that would allow federal authorities to arrest them before they activate. Richardson realizes that by arresting Jessica, He may have compromised the only intelligence operation capable of preventing coordinated attacks on American military installations across the Southwest. Commander, what happens now? Jessica looks around the processing room where she was just strip-searched by federal agents who thought she was a terrorist. 8 months of deep cover blown because communication protocols designed to protect operational security made her look exactly like the enemy she was hunting. Now we hope the intelligence I gathered is enough to prevent the attacks that were scheduled to happen while I was supposed to be completing this mission. Admiral Stevens' voice crackles through Richardson's radio with orders that reflect the urgency of the situation Jessica has been trying to prevent. All federal agencies in Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and California are ordered to coordinate immediate arrests of suspected foreign operatives using intelligence provided by Commander Martinez. We have less than 48 hours before coordinated attacks on American military installations. But as Jessica prepares to leave the federal detention center, she knows that 8 months of careful intelligence gathering has been compromised by one night of mistaken identity. The foreign operatives she's been tracking know that their network has been infiltrated. The attacks they've been planning may be accelerated or relocated to targets she hasn't identified. Agent Richardson, I need you to understand something. The immigration crisis at the southern border isn't just about people seeking better lives. It's being exploited by foreign governments who want to embed military personnel in American communities. What happened tonight may have cost us the only chance we had to prevent attacks that could kill thousands of Americans. As Jessica walks out of the detention facility, she carries intelligence that will prevent some of the planned attacks, but the deep cover operation that took 8 months to build has been destroyed in one night because the very security measures designed to protect her mission made her look like the enemy she was hunting. Welcome to the Human Stories, where the greatest threats to American security come from people who look like friends, where the greatest heroes work in shadows so deep that even other federal agents don't know they exist, and where the difference between national security and catastrophic failure sometimes comes down to a tattoo that proves someone is exactly who they claim to be. Remember Lieutenant Commander Jessica Martinez the next time you see someone who doesn't fit standard categories, someone whose documentation seems suspicious, someone whose presence in places where they don't belong might actually mean they're exactly where they need to be to protect interests you'll never know were threatened. Because the most important battles in the war on terrorism happen in places where good guys and bad guys look exactly the same, and the only difference is a tattoo that most people will never see and credentials that most people don't have clearance to verify. Sometimes protecting America means looking like someone who's threatening America. And sometimes the most dangerous moment in a deep cover operation is when other Americans try to protect America from you.